Hey everybody, it's Terry B. Hope you're having a great day. Going to come at you with another TTM video. I got a bunch of stuff in the last video I'd mentioned. I kind of split it up, so I've got 4 returns here today, and we're going to get rolling, get into these, and we'll talk a little bit about the player. First return, it took 49 days for this one to come back. All right. Index card not signed, but our first TTM. Gracious enough to sign both cards is Brooke Fordyce, former catcher for the O's. So you've got 2002 Topps cards here. A little bit about Mr. Fordyce. Let's see, he is currently 50 years old, originally from New London, Connecticut, drafted by the Mets in the 3rd round of the '89 amateur draft out of St. Bernard School. So actually drafted out of high school. It's awesome. Career, he had a WAR of 1.8, a little over 1,800 at bats, 467 hits, 41 homers for a batting average of 258, 8 stolen bases. I mean, for a catcher, it's there. Don't expect a ton. So 10-year career. Started with the Mets in '95, the Reds in '96 through '98, the White Sox in '99. Let's see here. White Sox in 2000, then looks like traded to the Orioles 2000 as well, with the O's through 2003, and it looks like Tampa Bay in 2004 to end his career. So I would tell you his best year looks like it would have been, let's see. So in '99, he had 105 games. 2003, he had 108 games. I'm going to say 2000 maybe. 93 games, 330 plate appearances, 302 at-bats, 41 runs, 91 hits. 14 of those were homers with 49 RBIs, and hit 300 that year. So aside from his rookie campaign where he only had 2 at-bats and one of those was a hit, that was his best year. So again, pretty cool that he signed both. I did offer if he was interested to keep them. And when I open these 2002 Topps, you can see some of the paper loss around the top of that. So these were definite TTM cards. This was an era I didn't have a ton of Orioles cards. So Mr. Brooke Fordyce is our first TTM return. So next up, we've got a 43-day return. Index not signed, and this will be a rookie card of Mr. Terry Fox, pitcher for the Tigers. So I was going through and trying to organize my collection by decade, and then I started looking back at the oldest stuff I had and who was still around to sign that was TTMing. So I shouldn't say who was around, but who is actually. So there's your rookie card for Mr. Terry Fox. Some interesting names from a team perspective. I know with the league contraction, I mean, that's kind of changed some things, but I don't ever remember New Iberia as a team. And Jax is still there. Topeka, Austin. So, I mean, definitely a interesting mix of teams. You can see at the bottom, Terry was traded from Milwaukee last winter. The Tigers are counting on Terry in 1961. It's a little tough to read. So I'll actually get back to the autos. It's the important thing. So Mr. Terry Fox, he is currently 85 years old, born in Chicago. Career stats, he had a WAR of 8.2. He was 29 and 19 on the win-loss side with an ERA of 2.99, so under 3 ERA. Across 248 games, so most of that obviously as a reliever, with 59 saves, 397 innings pitched, 185 strikeouts, and a whip of 1.267. So if I take a look across his 7-year career, let me just take a gander here. I would say that that's some pretty good years. Let's take I'm probably going to tell you that 1962 was pretty good. So 3-1, 44 games. And in those 44 games, posted a 1.71 ERA. The year before that, he's in 39 games with a 1.41, so 1.71 in 62, and his rookie year 1.41. So I'd say that's pretty awesome. So career-wise, let's see. So Milwaukee, we mentioned that in the 60s. Detroit, 61 through 65, 66 actually. And it looks like he finished off the rest of 66 with Philadelphia. So they're guessing an in-season trade there. So Mr. Terry Fox, definitely the oldest TTM that I've got back. So that is awesome. I'm going to switch some things up. I did look at these, so I know what that next card is, and I'm going to switch that just for a minute. Instead, we're going to look at a return that took 198 days. So, yeah, I kind of begin to write these off to an extent, but this one came back. So, let's take a look. Index card not signed. And our auto is in a, I believe this is 88. Yeah. 88 Fleer, Mr. Mike Griffin for the Orioles. Mike Griffin is currently 63 years old. He was drafted by the Rangers in the 3rd round of the 76th draft out of Woodland High School in Woodland, California. He debuted September 1970 against Cleveland. Career, he was a WAR of 0.8, so almost one win better than a replacement. Win-loss of 7 wins and 15 losses. ERA of 4.6, 67 games, 24 of those were starts, 3 saves, 203 innings pitched with 101 strikeouts and a whip of 1.512. So if I look at his stats here, so he was with the Yankees from 79 to 81. Looks like an in-season trade to the Cubs in 81 as well. San Diego Padres in 82. Then there's a gap here from 87. 87 was his year with the Orioles, hence the 88 card. And finished off 89 with the Cincinnati Reds. So out of all of that, I would say his best year would be, I'm going to say 82. He was 0-1 with a 3.48 ERA in 7 games. His big year with the Orioles, he was 3-5 in 87 with a 4.36 ERA across 23 games. So there we go, Mr. Mike Griffin. And as mentioned, I know what this last return is. I knew it even before I opened it, just based on the cancellation on the stamp. The index card is not signed. So the next card is retired General Colin Powell. You see the auto here. I'd seen some other people comment that occasionally his marker isn't the greatest, and you can see, I mean, not the best of shape, but hey, you know what? I can make it out, and I sent this off for a specific reason. So this is out of the Topps Desert Storm set. So there were 3 Desert Storm sets. I'm actually just putting together the last of the sets, and they don't hold a ton of value, but from a historical perspective, it's something I'd like to pass down to my kids one day. So without further ado, Colin Powell. So Mr. Powell was born in 1937. And just reading off Wikipedia, so I mean, don't cite me here. An American politician, diplomat, and retired 4-star general who served as the 65th United States Secretary of State from 2001 to 2005, the first African American Secretary of State. Let's see. He was the highest-ranking African American in the history of the federal executive branch, by virtue of Secretary of State standing 4th in line of presidential succession. So at his time, he was the first African-American who was 4th in line to the country. He served as the 16th United States National Security Advisor from 87 to 89, and as the 12th chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff from 89 to 93. So, obviously you've got Desert Shield mentioned here. Talk a little bit about his assignments real quick. His last assignment from October 89 to September 93 was the 12th chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the highest military position in the DoD. During that time, he oversaw 28 crises, including the invasion of Panama in 89, Operation Desert Storm in the Persian Gulf, war against Iraq 1991. He formulated the Powell Doctrine, which limits American military action unless it satisfies criteria regarding the American national security interest. overwhelming force and widespread public support. He was the 65th U.S. Secretary of State, serving under President George W. Bush. And there's some controversy, of course, over his war, or his justification for the war in Iraq in 2003. And he was fired after Bush was reelected in 2004. I will tell you, his autobiography, My American Journey, I've read probably 3 times. Just from a sheer leadership perspective, some of the things you could glean from that autobiography, I would encourage highly anybody just to read it and see if there's anything you can put into practice. But no, we're not sports. I'm not getting off topic going politics. But General Colin Powell is our last TTM. So that's what I've got for everybody today. I really need to get back into it and see what I've got on the TTM side. I'd mentioned going through some of the older stuff. I think I've got a lot of cards from the 70s that I was looking to see if folks TTM, and it looks like they do. So I'm going to get back on the horse and get some TTMs out now the post office is slowly coming back around to normal. So that's what I've got for everybody today. Take care, stay safe, and we'll be back soon.